Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely, pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie. Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode 218 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. And before we get to this week's guest, Zakk Wylde, I want to remind you that the launch of Mistress Carrie's Black and Blue ice cream is coming on August 18th. I've partnered with the ice cream alchemist at A La Mode in Thompson, Connecticut for a new boozy flavored ice cream that combines berries with tequila, limoncello, cinnamon, honey, and more. And all of the profits are benefiting Project New Hope, where veterans rebuild with honor. You can join me and Project New Hope at A La Mode in Thompson, Connecticut for the launch of Mistress Carrie's Black and Blue on August 18th from noon to 5. Get all the details on the concert and events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. My guest this week is Zakk Wylde, who returns to the show after his first appearance on episode 82. Zakk is a legendary guitarist who started his career with Ozzy, and he's gone on with Black Label Society, Zach Sabbath, and collaborated with some of the best guitarists in the world. And now he's taking over playing guitar for Pantera in honor of his longtime friend, Dimebag Abbott. Pantera is performing on night number 1 of Metallica's M72 World Tour and the No Repeat weekends. Zakk and I caught up the day before they kicked off the final North American leg at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. I love it when Zakk comes on the show because I just never know what he's going to say next. So allow me to reintroduce you to Zakk Wylde. What's up?
Hey, what's shaking?
How are you?
How you doing, doll?
I am fantastic. Thank you for doing this.
You got it.
I love it in the morning when I have my coffee with the one and only Zakk Wylde.
Right back at you, kid.
How you doing?
Getting ready for the big Pantera celebration. Clayworks Pottery Demolition Fest with Metallica tomorrow with the Boston chapter. So yeah, we're looking forward to be at Gillette Stadium tomorrow night.
I'm catching up with you the day before you guys play night number 1 of the M72 World Tour. You came into town early for rehearsals. I know with your New Jersey accent, it's hard to get into the Boston, New England thing, but have you been practicing?
Clam chowder. Clam chowder.
Have you been eating? What have you been eating while you were in town? Because you got to take advantage of the local cuisine.
No, well, I've still just been hitting steak and eggs. So, while we're up here, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, last time I went to Cheers and I asked him, I said, do you know who I am? Where everybody knows your name. And I asked the kid, I go, he was a younger kid. He had to be in his early 20s. I said, do you know my name? And he goes, no, I don't know who you are. I said, well, I guess that's some false advertisement. This is Cheers. Everyone's supposed to know your name.
I was thinking about some of the old things that you and I have done together over the years. And one of my favorite Zakk Wylde memories and one of the most traumatic things I've ever been put through in my life. We did a contest, me, you, Neanderthal that used to work with me, and a listener and a friend had a chance to go watch a Sox-Yankees game at Fenway with all of us, including you, when you were on the Ozfest.
Oh, yeah.
And you bought the entire section at Fenway hot dogs because they were so afraid of you.
That's just another Catholic duty. I'm just keeping it Catholic, just being a good Catholic boy and just, taking care of everybody. That's about it. So, we had a great time, for sure.
That's one of the last times I ever gambled on sports because the Red Sox let me down that day, and you made me go out on stage at Ozfest in a Yankees jersey, and I've never ever.
You had to wear a Yankee jersey.
I haven't recovered from it.
I would have had to wear a Red Sox jersey if they won.
Right.
You got to hold down your bet. You did, and we were very proud of you. And I figured maybe you'd come over to the Yankees. I figured maybe you put that jersey on, you'd feel the power of the 27 world titles. Maybe you'd want to come over. It didn't work. It didn't stick.
It did not stick at all. You are doing rehearsals today because this is the first show of the new leg of the Metallica tour. And you guys have played so many of these shows. Do you still have to work things out, or at this point, is it just normal now? Like, do you have to rehearse?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's fun just going through everything. But we added Stairway to Heaven and Freebird to the set, and we're doing the live version. So, it's a lot of notes.
Yeah. Which means people will be up till 3 a.m. in Foxborough because those songs are so long.
Yes, exactly. And every time we break out into one of these songs, we give everyone in the audience a cot and a sleeping bag, just in case. But no, it's always great because I mean, a lot of these shows, it's been like a month in between us playing again. So, it's just it's just nice to get there. It's good to get together and see everybody and just just run through the set so we're all on the same page. But that's about it.
The last time I saw you at Gillette Stadium, you were standing on a helmet with the boss because the Patriots had just won that first Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. No, totally. I remember the first Monday night game or something? It was on a Sunday or something for the Patriots. Yeah, I remember that. Yep. Yeah, we played Crazy Train, I think. We played something else, but it was, right in the top of the helmet. It was great. Totally.
Now you're back and you're playing Pantera songs. I think if you and I had a conversation after you got off that helmet about the possibility of this, you would have been like, you're crazy. This could never have happened. But here you are, the guitarist of Pantera. It's crazy.
Well, the Pantera celebration.
Yes.
It's not Pantera.
Yes.
I mean, Pantera's, Dime, Vinny, Phil, and Rex. So that's Pantera. But no, it's a beautiful thing, honoring the guys every night. So, everybody's having a blast. I mean, everyone that comes down to the shows, either you have the Pantera faithful taking a trip down memory lane, and you got all the younger, like Phil always calls it, the new blood. And it's amazing every night, how many, it's just a testament to what the fellas created. You know what I mean? Because you got so many young people that have never seen Pantera before. I mean, it's almost kind of like, I mean, for me, for my situation, it would be, I never got a chance to see Led Zeppelin. So, if Zeppelin got back together, and you had, I mean, right now with Jason playing the drums, because I never got a chance to see it. So, because, so it's that kind of situation. So it's all the younger kids coming up, hearing that their older brothers listen to it or their dad or whatever. So, and now they're at the gig to hear this music live. So, no, to me, it's truly a beautiful thing. Every night we play, honoring the guys.
Your friendship with the Abbott Brothers obviously is very well known. But when you're going to be the guitarist playing Pantera songs, you had to get to know Dime in a different way because you had to really sit down and analyze his riffs and his music. Was there a song that made you think differently about his brilliance as a player because of this Pantera
I already knew my
celebration?
buddy was great. I already knew Dime was great. But then the more I was learning this stuff, I was like, he's even greater than I ever thought. So, but no, learning all the stuff, we're going through actually learning the songs. It's just, aside of Dime's great technique and his chops and everything like that. I mean, to me, it's his legacy is, I put it more like Tony Iommi, where what Tony created with Sabbath it's basically its own entire genre of music. You know what I mean? So Pantera are they're the gold standard of that genre of music, whether it's power groove or whatever, what Dime called it. But I mean, whether the Lamb of God guys are amazing, but, they're cut from that cloth and that style of music that Pantera forged, so like, and all the bands that come after that, I mean, it's just kind of like what Pantera created in their genre is the same thing as, the Beatles, the Stones, Zeppelin, and Sabbath, all the bands that we love, where they're the benchmark of that style of music. So that's why I always tell everybody it's not so much how fast Time was and everything like that. It's what he wrote. That's his legacy to me.
One of the highlights of my entire career was being asked, and not even asked because you know how he was, dragged, scared to death by Dimebag out on stage to share a microphone with him to sing Walk. And those pictures of me doing that with Dime I still to this day can't believe I got to do it. You get to play that riff. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that Walk riff just hits different. It's just something different. What is it like for you to hit that riff every night?
Oh no, it's truly amazing. But I mean, like Phil always says that every night. He goes when we're doing the shows with Metallica. I think a lot of people don't know who we are, don't know who Pantera is. He goes, but once that riff starts, they go, oh yeah, I've heard this song before. Yeah, but no, truly, it's an iconic riff for sure, totally.
When you look back at your long friendship with Dime, obviously, all of our lives were a lot different back then, and there's a lot of video evidence of the craziness. You're in a completely different place in your life now where you're just eating steak and eggs and powerlifting now. But is there a time that you look back at the crazy backstage times with Dime and you go, I can't believe we lived through that night? There's got to be one.
Oh, no. I mean, all the time. I mean, it was just like, but it was nothing but laughs and, like literally crying laughing. So, when I look back on, the Berserkin years, it was nothing but a lot of comedy and thank the good Lord, nobody ever, none of us doing anything ridiculously stupid where people are still hurt to this day. But it's just like, no, I look back on all the drinking days, it's just nothing but sheer comedy. Like crying, laughing, comedy. So, but no, like I said, whenever I think about Dime and Vinny, I always tell everybody the best way to remember them is just to live life like a berserker and live life to its fullest every day. They truly lived like every night was Friday or Saturday night. Like we could either be bummed out or we could be having the best day of our life. You create your own reality. And whether you want to be happy or bummed out, and I had Dime and Vinny were like, wait, I don't have time for this, man. I'm not going to invest 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or 1 minute being bummed out about something that I can't control anyways. It's just like, and it'd be like, call the guys up and fire up the barbecue immediately, so that's what I always tell everybody. If you want to honor them, that just live life doing what you love and live it to the fullest. truly. I mean, it really is. I mean, and they did that without a doubt. I mean, and it was contagious. You know, anyone that was around them always knew that. You know, they just wanted everyone to be happy, having a good time, and enjoying life.
Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters told me once in an interview that those guys taught him how to be a rock star, how to be welcoming with all the opening bands, how to treat people from the crew to the people that worked locally in the arenas, that everyone was invited into the party. And he learned a lot watching those guys and how they interacted with everyone.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, just good people, man. You know, I mean, just be good, man. You know, don't be an unnicer. Don't be an unnicer. Be nice.
When this tour got announced, I talked to Wolfgang Van Halen, and he expressed that the invitation to open up for Metallica on this tour was kind of a recognition of Metallica, that Mammoth WVH was worthy to be put on that stage. Pantera is different because it's another long, illustrious metal career. What did it mean for you to get the invite to be part of this massive undertaking that's taken over 2 years, wrapping around the globe? Like, what does it say about Metallica and their respect for Pantera?
I think, I mean, you know, well, they've known each, like Rex, we were talking about it last night, and, you know, Rex was like, Zakk, we've known those guys now for, like Rex was like, I think, you know, because it was before, obviously before even Pantera started making records, they knew them. You know what I mean? So, and he goes, and now that we're out here doing the gigs with him, he said it's pretty amazing. But no, it's great, without a doubt.
You've avoided getting struck by lightning on this tour, unlike those guys. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, you know, it's always best to avoid lightning. You know, like if you could go for a massage or go read, you know, your favorite book while you're having an espresso, I recommend that over, you know, the lightning striking. You know, unless you're Thor or something. You know what I mean? Or Odin.
It's the most heavy metal thing I've ever seen, that Metallica stage got struck by lightning in the middle of a performance. I was like, of course it did.
Yeah, it was pretty insane.
They're remaking, or not remaking, they're doing the reboot to Spinal Tap, the sequel. You are one of the most hard touring artists that I know. You have got to have one Spinal Tap moment in your career above all others where everything's gone wrong. What is it for you?
It's Spinal Tap every morning. I wake up and look in the mirror. It's a Spinal Tap morning. I remember Ozzy said the first time he saw it, he goes, Zakk, I thought it was a documentary on Sabbath. I think a bunch of the things that had happened that were in Spinal Tap did happen to Sabbath. Well, I mean, definitely the Stonehenge thing, you know, with Stonehenge being too small, their set was so big. Geezer was telling me it didn't fit in half the arenas, so it was too big. So Spinal Tap they made it too small. But no, I think you ask anybody that's in a band, it doesn't matter whether you play, if you're with Sinatra or you're in a black metal band, it doesn't matter. If you're in any band, and it doesn't matter whether you're in a band playing in a club in front of 5 people or you're playing, you know, Gillette Stadium, it doesn't matter. There's always Spinal Tap moments going on at all times. You know what I mean? Always. It's just, and I think if you ask anybody, the best is when it's like the most important moment for something to happen. Nothing will break the whole time for the last 60 shows. But then the one show that you're going to do that's going to be taped or film, everything goes wrong. It never ceases to fail, ever. I think if you ask anybody that's been in a band, that's usually the way it goes.
The last time you and I talked, we had recently lost Eddie Van Halen. And you always talk about the pillars as far as the guitar goes. And one of the names, you've already mentioned him, Jeff Beck. Since the last time I saw you, we lost Jeff Beck. Can you?
Yeah, crazy.
It's impossible to measure the influence of somebody like Eddie Van Halen or Jeff Beck, but can you talk about Jeff Beck's influence on you as a player?
Yeah, I mean, just truly, amazing, I've seen Jeff. We saw Jeff Beck play at the Iridium, and a real small club, and it was amazing. But all you have to do is just go on YouTube and watch some of his clips. Even on the last tour that he was doing, like when he was playing the Hollywood Bowl and everything like that, and just when he's playing like Somewhere Over the Rainbow or anything, it's just, truly amazing. It just like talk about somebody that can make a guitar talk. Just how lyrical he is in his playing, and he's technical, and just a complete package. John McLaughlin, who's one of the greatest players of all time as well. John McLaughlin was like Jeff Beck's like my favorite player. And that's coming from John McLaughlin. So, yeah, Jeff Beck just, and all his records, truly amazing. You just put any one of them on, usually there's always like landmark records or whatever, blow by blow or whatever. But I think they're all, they're all truly amazing. You could start from any of his albums. And he, the big thing with Jeff Beck is everybody would always be like, God, he's always creating something new and it always sounded fresh. He's amazing.
You famously started your career very young and got thrust out of a cannon. Now you're part of the old guard. So who is coming up for you? What new band, what new player do you look at and go, oh, that's new, that's different, I really like that?
Well, you have Jared James Nichols doing his thing. Richie Faulkner's amazing. You got Tim Henson is insane. Obviously, Tosin and everything like that, tour with Tosin. But no, and not only that, you go on Instagram, it's inspiring because there's so many young players that love playing the guitar. I remember somebody was telling me a while ago, like, guitar's kind of dying. Or I was like, what rock are you living under? You know what I mean? All you got to do is go on Instagram, and to me, it's a beautiful thing seeing so many kids loving the instrument and having such control over the instrument and just great technique and they're great players. So to me, that's inspiring.
They sold more guitars during COVID than any other time in history, I think. There's more players out there than ever.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, truly. I guess, COVID definitely, it gives people the, because you're under lockdown. But I think it's been, it's always thriving,
For me, it's amazing to see the girl players. That there are just so many young girls that are unafraid to just grab a guitar and try it, and how good this next generation of girls just doesn't look at it like there's a barrier between them and the instrument.
Yeah, well, you got, between Nita and Sophie and all that, without a doubt, because they're inspiring a lot of other girls to pick it up and get their technique together and, put the time in, for sure, without a doubt.
It's got to be a trip for you to see those kids in the audience, because it's a whole new generation of kids being brought to these shows by their metal dads.
Yeah, totally. Because Phil says it every night. Like when we go, how many people saw Pantera back in the 90s and everything? And you have, the Pantera faithful there that were there when Pantera was doing their thing. And then he goes, how many people out there, this is the first time seeing Pantera? Hearing these songs live. I'd say like 80% of the audience it's all new blood, which is a beautiful thing. It's a testament to how, how great the songwriting is with Pantera. So, that's why people are still there. So it's just, to me, it's a beautiful thing.
You've had such a long career. What's the best advice somebody gave you about navigating fame or navigating the music business? Did it come from Ozzy and Sharon? What advice did somebody give you that you still hold true to this day?
Oh, I think, with my father and Ozzy, Zakk, what did you ever learn from them? And I just always say, nothing that I didn't already know. And what they did is just verify it. You have to be driven, and that's it. You're either a lion or you're not. I mean, you don't complain. You just get up and you do what you got to do. It's got to get done. It's got to get done. That's it. So, yeah, because when people just say, "Oh, where's if rock's going to die out of music's going to die out of this," you'll never stop driven people ever. You just won't. Somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger, if he didn't end up becoming the best bodybuilder in the world and becoming a movie icon and everything like that, if he would have had a coffee shop, it would have been the best coffee shop in the block, where he grew up. And I'm saying, like, same thing with Lars and James and the guys. If they were driven to the point where, if it wouldn't become what Metallica is today, they would have been successful at whatever else it is they wanted to do. Whether they wanted to have a coffee shop or anything like that, it would have been the most successful coffee shop on the block, because they're driven. So, and the same thing with Dime and Vinny and, and Rex and Phil, how Pantera was driven. I think with all bands, it doesn't matter, it's just in you. You know what I mean? Like, my father never had to force me to, if you want something nice, you want a Les Paul guitar, you got to work for it. You know what I mean? Put in the effort and get it. Don't ever say, "Oh, I'll never have something like that." You can't ever say that, ever. Why would you say that? You want the guitar, go for it. You know what I mean? Just do another paper route or just, start mowing more lawns. But I'm getting that guitar. So I think it's a mindset, and I think you're born with that. So, I think, you can't pound a work ethic into somebody. If you're driven, you're driven. That's it.
I never noticed the trend until I started doing these longer podcast interviews. How many rock stars were raised in military families by veterans? And I think the reason why so many successful rock stars are successful is exactly what you're talking about, that they were raised by veterans with that mindset.
You also have a lot of people that are, that their fathers are, and then they're just completely lazy and they couldn't care less, So I'm just saying, I don't think that holds true, though. You know what I mean? I just think, you could, I have 4 kids. So you could be, me and Bob have 4 kids. You could have the greatest upbringing and everything like that. And, if me and you were brother and sister and we have some other brothers and sisters, you guys are fine. And I'm in and out of jail all the time and just doing dopey stuff. Mom and dad are sitting there going, "Where did we go wrong with Zakk?" You know what I mean? It's just like, no, that's on you. You know what I mean? So I think it depends on what you want out of life. It truly is. So, I mean, if you want to have some discipline or you want to be driven, you do it. I mean, to me, doing Zakk Sabbath, playing with Pantera, playing with Black Label, playing with Ozzy. I thank the good Lord every day for everything I have. So to me, it's not work. It's just me doing what I love. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think it's all, and you could have the best upbringing or whatever. I mean, or the worst. If I have one of my buddies, Tommy, he's just the worst upbringing, but he's driven, and he refuses to be a victim and refuses, he never had that attitude. It's just, there's a mountain. We're either going through it, around it, under it, over it, or we're just plowing right through this thing. It was never like, wow, we're never going to get around this thing. Ever. Never. That's not the Black Label mindset. No way.
You bring up the kids. How do you rebel in a house where Zakk Wylde's your dad? Are you going to have a house full of accountants?
No. But all I do, me and Bob, all I've ever told the kids, whatever it is you love and whatever it is you have passion for, do that. Just because I play music doesn't mean you have to play music. whatever it is you love, and whatever it is. My parents never forced anything on me. They would, when I was playing baseball, when I was playing Little League, I loved that. When I started playing Pop Warner football, I loved that. And then when I found guitar in high school, then it was just, I'm going to dedicate my life to this thing. So, but my parents supported me in anything, they never said, this is what you're going to do. They were just like, find what it is that drives you and do that. I had great parents. And they were older too. Like my dad was a World War II vet. My mother was older as well. So, all my friends had younger parents. But my parents didn't beat it into me and tell me, you got to do this, you got to do that. No, not at all. They were like, if I gotta beat it into you to be able to say thank you and please, like, are you that stupid? You know what I mean? It's just like, you should know better. So, if you want some nice things, you want to be good at, you want to learn how to play guitar, you got to practice. You got to put time in. So that's that.
Last time you and I talked, we made a lot of jokes about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and that you were saying, we already know that Ozzy's in there. They just need to do it as an excuse to have a party. Well, his party's this year. And it seems like Ozzy's at a place in his life where, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it means something to him to be acknowledged as a solo artist and to have that part of his musical career be celebrated this year.
Yeah, but look at his solo career. How insanely successful it's been, so and it's not like he just had, one album that was hugely successful. He's had the longevity and everything like that. So yeah, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, we already know he's in there, you know what I mean? So it's just a matter of, if you don't make it this year, you make it next year. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with, I wonder if Deep Purple's ever going to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Smoke on the water. That's it. Lights out. Game over. It's just stop. This is getting silly now. So no, but I think with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's great whenever anybody gets in there. But like we said before, I think we already know who's already in there. Like the Singer Hall of Fame. I wonder if, Adele's going to get in there with Barbra Streisand. Come on, stop. We already know she's in there. I wonder if Elton John's going to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Just stop.
We all know these microphones aren't on, so we know nobody's listening. So what do you know about the induction ceremony? Are you playing with Ozzy? Who's inducting him? Just tell me all the dirt, Zakk, because nobody else will know. I'm really good at keeping secrets.
No, I have no clue right now. But like I said, if Mom calls me or the boss, texts me and said, Zakk, we're going to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. I learned Mary Had a Little Lamb, and we show up. And he says, go light on the mustard, and then I got to mow the lawn at the house. So, that's what I do. Yeah, but if it's going on, I get the text or the phone call from the boss or Mrs. O, I'll let you know.
People are listening to this interview, driving to the show to see this celebration of Pantera, to see the M72 World Tour, to see Wolfgang Van Halen, Metallica. What do you want to say to the fans about the show tonight, about their loyalty to your music over the years? What do you want them to know?
I just want to let everybody know, coming down to this show, to make sure you bring an extra towel. There's going to be so much hot yoga going on, and so much, and in the memory of St. Richard Simmons, we're going to be truly sweating to the oldies and the newies of everything that's going on. But no, it's a high calorie burning concert. But no, like I said, all the shows we've been doing with the guys with Metallica and Wolfie have been great. So they watching the fellas every night, they sound amazing. So it's a great time for sure.
Did you just give up the ghost? Are you wearing the short, silky shorts and a bedazzled top in honor of Richard Simmons?
I'll be wearing that tomorrow night. I'm ironing it right now. I don't like any creases in it. I don't like it. No wrinkles. Just, it's got to be pro.
Once this tour is up, what's next for you? What are you working on? Because you're always working on something.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're doing new Black Label. We're recording that. That'll probably come out in 2026. And then obviously we have Pantera going on, I guess, in February over in Europe. We'll be over there for 6 weeks. I think all 2025, we're going to be doing a lot of Pantera celebration and then some Zakk Sabbath stuff in there. Yeah, so it'll be a good time.
It was so good to see you. Thanks for hanging out and having coffee with me today.
You got it, though. Great seeing you, Mrs. Carrie. I'll see you in a bit now.
Yeah. Wicked pissa, kid. Enjoy your chowder.
Yes, I'll make sure I have some chowder while I'm out here.
See you later, honey. I can't wait to see the show.
All right. Love you, Doc. Bye,
Love you too. Bye. There he is, the one and only Zakk Wylde, and the show was everything I hoped it would be. If you have never heard Pantera's music performed live, do not miss the opportunity. This Pantera celebration isn't going to end anytime soon. The band is headed to Europe for the first time in 20 years, coming in 2025. If you want more details, check the links in the show notes of this episode. I've got all of Zakk's links, all the Pantera links, plus all the Mistress Carrie links, the link to his first appearance on the show on episode 82, and the link to the corresponding playlist for this episode. I make a playlist for every full-length episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast that features all of my guest music and all the artists and songs that we referenced in the interview. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday, plus every weekday you get the Sit Rep. The Situation Report gives you all of your rock news, music headlines, and entertainment updates in about 5 minutes. Join me live every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern for my live streaming video show, Cocktails in the War Room. And of course, you can always find me on the radio. Get the details on all of that and more at mistresscarrie.com. The Mistress Carrie Podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.